Jacoby stopped walking. The ogre frowned, turning his head back and forth as he regarded the trees all around with his one good eye. He shifted his oft-patched cloak and grunted, as if punctuating a thought.
"Why are we stopping?"
Geraldine asked softly, her tail swishing. There was a slight nicker in her voice, left over from her time running with the herds in Arcadia, and it only seemed to come out when she was nervous, which was most of the time for the horse girl.
"Let the man work, Jerry,"
Sasha said, gently brushing her fingers along the beast's shoulder.
"We came to him because we needed a guide, so let him guide."
"Quiet,"
Jacoby growled, shaking his head. He could feel the tendrils of magic that lived in Sasha's voice trying to worm their way down his ears and distract him from anything other than listening to her. She did as he said. So did Geraldine. Jacoby could hear her shifting from hoof to hoof. That was fine, though. Like the ogre had told her before they'd entered the hedge, if you weren't nervous, it meant you were either very strong or very stupid. The ogre stepped off the edge of the trod, carefully swishing his shepherd's crook through the tall grass to part it. At the base of one of the trees was a tiny door. It was painted a rich red, and it bore a tiny brass knob. There was a little mail slot, a tiny mat, and even a small hook to hold a candle lamp. Jacoby leaned down and rapped thrice on the door with the middle knuckle of his middle finger.
"What?"
a booming voice demanded. Geraldine's ears went up, and her eyes went wide. Sasha's breath caught in her throat. The voice was big. Far too big to belong to anything that would fit through such a tiny door.
"Silver shine for a small?"
Jacoby asked.
"Show me the color of your coin,"
the thunderous voice demanded. The letter slot creaked slightly as it opened. The ogre rooted around in his belt pouch before bringing out a nickel. It was old, the features on it worn almost smooth by time and commerce. He polished it with his shirt for a moment before slipping it into the slot. A moment later, the door creaked open, and Jacoby leaned down and put his ear next to the gap. He stayed there for several minutes, listening quietly. Then the door shut, and the latch clicked into place. Jacoby stood, dusted off his knees, and strode back toward the trod.
"We take the left fork,"
he said, gesturing with his head for them to continue on.
"Don't step in any puddles. Don't pick any fruits between here and where we're going."
They started walking again, their only companion the rustle of the wind through the briars, and the smell of flowers, and the occasional singing of birds off in the deeper shadows. Once the tree had passed out of sight, Geraldine leaned close to Sasha's ear.
"What was that?"
she asked.
"It don't have a name,"
Jacoby said from ahead.
"Most call it the hub in the hole. You get what you pay for when you bargain with it, and that's all you need to know."